Hey YouTube, it's JK, and today's video is going to be basically like a quick review over how I passed Anatomy and Physiology 1 with an A. These are just tips, things that I've learned, things that I've experienced. Hopefully somebody takes something from this video, but if, you know, the saying is take what you want, throw away the rest. So, you know, if it doesn't apply to you, just forget it. But if it does, hopefully you can, you know, use it or whatever. But Anatomy and Physiology 1 is typically required for any healthcare field career. If you're planning on pursuing a career in the healthcare field, you will most likely have to take Anatomy and Physiology 1, Anatomy and Physiology 2, and Microbiology. And there are labs included in these, so I consider them one class, you know, the lecture and the lab, but some people don't. It's just, maybe it's because of how my class was set up, because they were on the schedule together, and we had like a 30-minute break in between lecture and lab, but the class was 4 hours, you know. Yeah. So starting with the actual course, once you get signed up for this course, once you register for your classes, I would recommend going on your school website or wherever you can go to the actual course information and just do your research before, and I cannot stress this enough, you have to do this before the class starts, way ahead of time. As soon as you get your schedule, if possible, go and look at the syllabus, look at the course requirements, the course objectives, you know, what you're going to be learning. If you have to get a book for that class, go and look at what book you need. That's extremely important because you want to have it on the first day, and all of those things. Now, it's important to get the syllabus, a physical copy. You need to print it off and have a physical copy with you, because any questions that you have that you're not able to get answered by the professor right away will most likely be on the syllabus. You know, like missing a class, what are her policies on being late and things like that. And you can't say you didn't know, because they, you know, a lot of it is on the syllabus, and they'll use that, you know, well, it's on the syllabus, you know, you can't say you didn't know, and then you're screwed if you miss a class and her policy is, you know, well, you didn't email me, so I can't help you. You know what I mean? And not all professors are like that, but I'm just, you know, it's better to be safe than sorry. That is my motto. You know, 3 steps ahead, always. Yeah, so printing off your syllabus, having a physical copy is very, very important. And if you can, put it in like a, if you can't get it laminated or, you know, sealed, get a small little folder. You can get those for like 25 cents in some places, Office Max, Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, Walmart. Just get a small folder and put it in there, or you can put all of your syllabus for each class in the same folder, you know, so that way you can know where to refer to if you have any questions. Also on the syllabus will be grading policies. You know, if there's going to be any extra credit, it'll have dates that are really important to know, like when is your final, so you know, things like that, things you can go ahead and write down. Anything that you can get taken care of right away, do so. And that's for any class. You know, be proactive, be basically just be ahead, because you never know what's going to happen. Anything can happen, so it's better to be extremely prepared, super prepared. I did not need a textbook. We didn't have a textbook requirement. However, we did have to buy some software, which was just a CD. It's called Mastering A&P. And it's basically like an online textbook, which it costs the same as a textbook. Ridiculous, I know. But it was just a CD. You go online, you register, and it has like an online textbook. We still did not refer to this textbook for pretty much anything. It was optional. If you wanted to go and read the text, you could. But, you know, that's where our homework was on that website and things like that. But we did have to get, for lab, you know, that was for lecture. For lab, we were told to purchase a lab manual. And what that is it's right here. I'm just covering up the school name. And it did not come in this binder. I actually placed it in this binder. I punched holes in it. It was in sort of, if you can tell those things, it was in like a spiral type, I don't know, thing with like paper covers. And this lab manual is so important. You do not want anything to happen to it. So I put it in a hard binder to protect it, you know, to keep up with it and things like that. But basically, a lab manual is, it has each, or each system, whatever we're going over, it'll have, here, this is the organ and organ systems lab, the first one we went over. And the pictures in here I'm going to warn you are pretty graphic. If you have a weak stomach, which hopefully none of you do because you are, I think, planning on pursuing a healthcare career, and you kind of can't have a weak stomach because you will see things that you do not want to see, or you will encounter things that you may feel like will make you want to barf or faint. But yeah, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, I'm not going to show you all of the pictures because they are pretty graphic. But at the beginning of each section, there is a list of what you're gonna, what you need to know for that. If you can't see this, I'm sorry, because I can't see on the other side of the camera. I don't know if you can see it, but hopefully you can. But there's a list of what you need to know. And my professor, she tells us exactly what we're going to be tested on. So there's no excuse. You can't say, oh, you didn't tell us. She tells us exactly what is going to be on the test for lecture and for lab. And so she just has a list here, what you need to know. And then behind this list, here come the pictures. If you have a weak stomach, you might want to turn it off, or yeah. But this is, and these are pictures that she took of her models in class, and she labeled them. And see, there's a heart, the lung, thymus, and this is a cat. This is a cadaver of a cat. And we did have to actually look at these in class. We had to touch them and we had to get in them because that's what the test was on. She had the cats out and we had to go, she stuck numbers in like the heart. And say there was like a little stick, a little toothpick with the number 11 in it. And that was number 11 on the test. And of course it didn't say heart, but we have to know that that's the heart. So you write down heart. But that's how it was for every single system. Here's the, let's see. Like the tissues and the skin and everything, every system, the bones is the same thing. Muscular system, central nerve, same thing. But you might not be required to have one of those, but we were, and that was my textbook basically for that class. I mean, my physical book. So back to getting your books and things before the class starts. That is extremely important because when you get there on the first day, you have to have everything, because if they jump right into the material and you don't have, the things that you need, you're going to be lost and it's going to make you feel like really out of place. It's just not going to be good. So have all of your things before the class starts. Do not wait until the first week of the class and decide, now I'm going to go get my books. Have everything ahead of time. And if you have any questions about what you need to get, you can always email your professor, or like I said, refer to your syllabus because most likely it's on there. Now, for the actual lecture part of the class, my professor was generous enough to print off all of our PowerPoints before, she went over them. And I know a lot of professors do not do this, so you have to take it upon yourself to go online and print off the PowerPoints yourself. Or if she doesn't do PowerPoints, whatever the notes are, print those off before a lecture, so that way you have something to refer to. You don't have to, a lot of people can't just look or can't just listen to the teacher talk and write on the board and just that gets old. I can't learn that way. So my professor, what she did is printed off all of our, this is chapter 15, hopefully you can see it. She printed off all of our PowerPoints. She did 2 slides to the front, 2 slides to the back, and this was blank when she gave it to us. And all of the words or all of the labels, we did that. She would do it on the board. She would do it on the board, and then we had to copy it. Well, we didn't have to, but it would be smart to copy it down. And we just did that for the whole thing. Yeah, any notes or anything. And these are really helpful if you're a visual learner. These are extremely helpful because there's pictures and there's also, information. And she also has like a notes form. A lot of professors do their own notes, and that's how my professor did. Like I said, we didn't have a book, so she pretty much developed her own study plan and everything. So we had notes, and our lecture tests came strictly from her notes. So what I did is I would download the notes, that day, the day she uploaded them online. I went in, printed them off, and I made flashcards. A lot of people don't like flashcards. I don't understand why, because this is literally what saved me. This is how I got my A on these lecture tests. It is time consuming. Flashcards are extremely time consuming. You can spend up to 3 hours. As much information as you're going to need to know, because A&P is a very heavily informative class. Like, you are going to feel like you're being suffocated with information, but it's important. That's how important this class is. And a lot of people feel like it's just something to, get out of the way to get to the next one. No, you're going to need this stuff forever. Like, in your career, you're going to need this information, and a lot of it in the future will be scenario based, but the basics, you will need them. So try not to look at the class as like as a speed bump, but more like a trail. I don't know. You get what I'm saying. Just don't, it's going to be hard to remember everything. That's why you have to constantly refresh your memory. Keep your, all of your notes and flashcards from each class, because you will need them again, I promise. But anyway, what I did with my flashcards, now flashcards usually come in, or index cards, they usually come in this size. I bought a lot of these because I know I'll need them, but they usually come in, 3 by 5. Now, as many flashcards as I make, and I don't put a lot of information on each one of them. If I do, I just write it small. I cut them in halves. So this is about half. About half. But I cut them in half just to save, flashcards, because if you only have one word, let me find an example. This, carbonic acid. It's a weak acid and important for buffering system for blood, whatever. But putting that on this ginormous card would be very wasteful, in my opinion. So I cut them in half, because I do have a lot of flashcards. I have over, I don't even know how many, but I spend a lot of time making flashcards. And if I'm not pushing flashcards on anybody. Well, actually I am. But if you, don't feel like you have to do them. If you know you're not going to learn from flashcards, don't make flashcards. But if you are like me and you have to test yourself constantly on the information, make flashcards, because it's what saved me in that class. But yeah, for each system I just went through the notes, and everything that was bold, everything that I felt like I would need to know, which was pretty much everything on the notes, I would make flashcards, and I did them. As soon as I made them, I would study them. It's best to study as soon as you have them done. Even if you don't have them yet, don't wait till the last minute to go over the information. And I know everybody says this, but literally, if you start to review the information right after you've been introduced to it, that will help you so much, because it'll keep it fresh. It will it'll be hard to forget so easily. If you cram, which sometimes you are forced to do because things do happen, I understand. If you cram, you're only learning that information for the test, and some people can't even do that. You try and then you get in there and go blank. If you just keep the information fresh, and I'm not saying study everything, just a little bit every day, just reread, the thing. And I did not do this. I was just watching a video. Getting a recorder is a really good idea. I did not have a recorder, but I just watched a video. I think it was, I don't remember who it was. It was like iFitNurse, I think that's her name on YouTube. I'm sure that's her name, but her videos are really helpful and like so awesome. And she recommended getting a recorder to just sit and record the whole lecture, and that is the smartest idea ever. I did not think of that, and I wish I would have sooner, but I will definitely get one for the second course coming up in 2 weeks. But yeah, you can just, as soon as the lecture is over, plug it in your car on the way home, before you go to bed, while you're doing the dishes, anything. That will, it's effortless. You don't have to read anything. It's like listening to music. And I'm sure a lot of us like to listen to our headphones. I know I do at least 3 times a day. So yeah, index cards are highly recommended for people that need to be tested constantly to remember the information. Let's see what else. Extra credit. Extra credit is so important, because it could literally come down to 2 points. I got a 91 in the class. 2 points, I would have had a B. So that all of the extra credit that I did added up, and I don't know how each professor rewards extra credit, but my professor, she did, she rewarded it like she would do 25 points for something, and it wouldn't be 25 points in the actual class, of course, but 25 points on the last test that you took. And say I got a 65 on a test, that 25 points would put me up to a B, which would not affect my grade as much as it would have if it was a 65. So, you know, any extra credit that you are able to do, I highly recommend doing it. You know, it may not seem worth it at the time, but I promise you, if you're borderline, you know, if you're already up in, like, you have a 98, I mean, it's not really going to help. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to do it because, you know, it'll secure your grade. However, if you're like borderline B, A, or C, B, or whatever, that extra credit will definitely make a difference, and I've seen it. I didn't think it would, but it really did make a difference because I was borderline BA and I ended up getting an A. Relief. I'm sorry, it just hit me again because I worked really hard in that class and I was really trying to get an A and I did it. But anyway, yeah, extra credit is extremely important. Having a relationship with your professor is important as well. I'm not saying like you have to be their friend. I'm just saying be respectful, you know, be mindful. If you see something, because they will remember that, especially if you have to take that professor again, and they can, if they see that you're trying and they can see that you actually want to do well, they can help you. It's their class. They have control of your grade. They pretty much have control of everything. They can help you. So being in at a good standing with your professor is extremely important. You know, and you get things like class participation, which is like 15% of your grade. Small things like that, they do add up. You may not think they matter, but they do. You know, everything that contributes to your grade, if you want to get an A or whatever your goal is in that class, if you want to pass, if that's just your goal, just to pass, all of this is really important because it all counts. The class is a pretty long class. I don't know if it's just my school, but the class was 4 hours, and that was a lecture in the lab. That is a very long time. My professor did give us a break in between, like a 30-minute break. However, some professors might not. And for the most part, I'm sure you're not allowed to eat in most of those classes because they're in a lab type setting, and there are, you know, just a bunch of safety hazards that are just not, it's not acceptable to eat. So I would recommend eating, you know, of course, do not go in that class hungry. Do not. I'm not saying overeat because you might get sick, and you know you will be around cadaverous smells. You see things that may make you a little nauseous, so don't overeat, but just make sure you're not hungry. You know, drink plenty of water. Some of them may allow water, I'm not sure, but we couldn't have water, anything, no gum, no nothing. So I recommend just making sure you are not hungry in there, and get a lot of sleep because, you know, the material at some points can be very boring. And specifically, I think it was the tissues is what got me. Oh my God, it was horrible. That's not interesting to me at all. And you know I needed to know the information, but the more uninteresting the information is, the harder it is for me to pay attention, and I'm sure a lot of people are like that. So make sure you get a lot of rest before you go in that class. Try to space your classes out to where you have at least an hour before that class. If you can't control that, you know, that's fine. But if you have control over that, don't go from one class right into that class, because you will get overwhelmed and your brain will feel like it wants to explode. You have to be organized for anatomy and physiology. I mean, you have to be organized for all your classes, but especially A&P, you have to be extremely organized because everything works in a certain order for that class, and you can't be all over the place because you will confuse yourself and it'll just really screw up everything. So being organized is one of the top things, you know, being on top of things, being organized, being proactive, just all of those things. Everything that I just said, everything that I just talked about are, you know, just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure there's way more, you know, that is to know for this course, because it's not just a class that you take to get to where you need. No, this is, you're learning the body, how the body works, and in a healthcare field, it's all about health. It's all about, you know, anatomy and physiology. Literally, like, these are the basics to what you need to know. Like, these are the foundation. If you want to build a house, you got to have a strong foundation. This is the foundation. So you need to make sure you get this information in, because it will pop up again. You know, for me, nursing. Once I get in the nursing program, I'm going to have a lot of scenarios where they are going to refer to something from A&P. However, it'll be in a different type of way. Like, example, I don't know, okay, in A&P, we talk about, let's see, skeletal system. Say your bones, you have your clavicle and scapula, and they articulate at the, I don't know, the thing where they articulate. You have to know all three of those. I should know this, I'm sorry, because it was just a few weeks ago, but anyway, you have to know all of those. Now, when you get in the nursing program, they're going to ask you a question like, oh, Sally fell and hit her shoulder on the concrete. What was dislocated? Or I don't know, something like that. But you're going to have to know this stuff, and it's going to have to stick with you, and you're going to have to keep reviewing it forever, because you will never ever stop learning in these, in these types of careers. You're going to constantly grow and build on top of what you already know. So just, I can't stress it enough, don't feel like this is something that you have to get over, because it's not. You will learn more on this. So yeah, with all of that being said, I did get an A in the course. I'm very proud of myself. I'm definitely going to do better next semester. There are a few things that I definitely could have done differently, and I have learned, things that work for me now that I will do for the next course. And so if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section, or anywhere that you can find me. I was really happy to make this video because I know it'll help someone. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.